Assalamualaikum fam. Hope you're doing well. How you doing? Okay, so we're continuing our reading of some fun facts about ancient Rome. Already finished this book, but I wanted to share some very cool things with you that I like from it. So this was about dealing with Rome's underclass, and I think you'll find it pretty interesting. A perennial challenge facing the Roman authorities was what to do about Rome's underclass. The city was a magnet which attracted many thousands of unemployed immigrants from the countryside. So you have people coming in from the rural areas who wanted to better their lot, but there were too few jobs and too many faces to feed, and all this brought a danger of rising public expenditure. So here, you're getting at, okay, a social safety net. How much are you going to give out? And how much are you going to just, leave it up to people knowing where they need to travel to, where the jobs are at? The balance of having an economy and a proper population for that economy. Grain was imported from Sicily and Egypt to feed the urban population. Now, what's really cool was about the Egyptians, man, and Rome had a long relationship, and grain, especially coming from there, is amazing. And in Sicily, the bottom boot of Italy, that was a huge part where people from Africa came into Europe. That whole area has such a rich, vibrant culture. But prices were high from time to time. There were riots. Okay, so bread riots, alright? So, food riots. They really want that food. And if Egypt raises the price, Sicily can't accommodate the ports accurately or something, there's going to be a problem. Something had to be done. Elect tribune of the people in 123, and again in 122 BC, the younger of the two Gracchus brothers. Okay, so we have the Gracchus Brothers, Gracchus. Gaius subsidized the price of grain for citizens. So they gave a subsidy in 122 BC for grain. In 58 BC, Publius Clodius Pulcher, Gracchus brother to the distributable Clodius, made a career as a radical politician. We have those, don't we? As tribune of the people, he introduced free grain distribution for the poor, a hugely popular policy. Well, that is interesting because it was such a huge staple, right? Such a huge staple. When I hear that, it's amazing how many women today wouldn't know what to do with a bag of flour, right? It's fascinating how in ancient Rome, you got Sicily, you got Egypt, so many places across the world, women knew what to do with a bag of flour and how grateful you were for a bag of flour. How many different things you can make. Cookies, crackers, so many different shapes of pastries, And how, dumplings, tortillas, so much. So it's really cool that there was at least that given. Today you can get some things like that as cheese, milk, and eggs. Not necessarily flour, though, that I've seen. You go to the food bank, you don't see bags of flour, you see canned food, right? Politicians such as Julius Caesar and Augustus tried to reduce state spending and limited the scheme, but with little long-term effect. The Emperor Septimius Severus added olive oil to the distribution. So notice this. Emperor Septimius Severus is like, hey, not only will you have flour, but you have olive oil. Nice! Make a little focaccia bread. You bake a little nice sourdough. Take that out, dip it in there. I like that. And olive oil, huge cooking oil. Come on now, you got a good quality olive oil from ancient Rome? Let me tell you. You roast up some nice, cow, some nice steak, a little bit of olive oil, some salt. Those cows, I'm sure they were fed some of the best stuff, different than, factory farm stuff today. Simple yet delicious. Makes me hungry. I'm like getting hungry. That's awesome. And Aurelian issued free bread instead of grain, and added salt, pork, and even wine to the handout. Well, jeez. So Aurelian, instead of giving grain, right, whole grain, or at least to be ground into flour, the bread was already made. And then adding salt to that is pretty interesting because salt, there wasn't modern refrigeration at this time. Salt is a preservative. Pork seems kind of unsafe, but I get because it's like the fat, the cooking fat you could get from it, right? You can do a lot of things with pork fat. We're Muslims, we can't do that, but you can make lotions, soaps, you can make lip balms, all kinds of stuff from pork. Cook potatoes in it. You can do that with beef as well, but the pig has a lot of the fat. But salt pork probably was something they ate a lot with a slice of bread. That's interesting. But the wine is like, do you want to mix wine and joblessness? If you're poor, get to work. You shouldn't be laying around drinking. But they kind of maybe want to soothe them and keep them intoxicated so they don't riot. With so much coming for free, why should the jobless bother to look for work? You know? You have to work for your daily bread. You know? But some, they want that soft drip communism, soft drip socialism. The world changes, but political issues remain stubbornly the same, and emperors found it no easier than modern governments to enforce financial cuts. Well, trade, clearly then, was a huge issue, and then having budget cuts, and then keeping the population fed, while also hoping that you have enough jobs around. Very important. I like it. I would like a little bit, you know, some of that organic imported Italian olive oil. I'll vote for anyone who gives me some of that olive. I'm just kidding. Alright, have a good day, fam. What do you think? 122 BC. The Gracchus Brothers started subsidizing grain. Very interesting.